Hello students, welcome to class 11th online education. Today we'll be reading Economics Unit 5 Consumers Equilibrium Indifferent Curve Analysis. Consumer equilibrium can be derived through marginal utility analysis and indifference curve analysis. So today we'll be reading indifference curve analysis. Before that, let us know what is cardinal approach. Cardinal utility approach is also known as marginal utility analysis or Marshall utility analysis. It states that the satisfaction the consumer derives by consuming goods and services can be measured with the number. Cardinal utility is measured in terms of attils. That means the measurement scale is attils. According to cardinal utility, the goods and services that are able to derive a higher level of satisfaction to a consumer will be assigned higher attils, and goods that results in a lower level of satisfaction will be assigned lower attils. Cardinal utility is a quantitative method that is used to measure consumption satisfaction. Let us understand another approach, that is ordinal approach. Ordinal utility approach, which is also known as indifference curve analysis or J.R. Hicks analysis, as it is propounded by J.R. Hicks. It states that the satisfaction the consumer derives from the consumption of goods and services cannot be measured in numbers because utility or satisfaction is a psychological phenomenon. Rather, ordinal utility uses a ranking system in which a rank is provided to the satisfaction that is derived from consumption. According to ordinal utility, the goods and services that offer a customer a higher level of satisfaction will be assigned higher ranks, and the goods and services that offer a lower level of satisfaction will be assigned lower rank. And ordinal utility is a qualitative method that is used to measure consumption satisfaction. Now, as we know that indifference curve analysis is one of the important instrument to derive consumer equilibrium, let us understand what is indifference curve. An indifference curve is a curve that represents all the combination of goods that gives the same satisfaction to the consumer, and since all the combination gives the amount of satisfaction, the consumer prefers them equally. Hence, the name indifference curve. We can understand with the help of indifference schedule. Here you can see the indifference schedule wherein two commodities are there, food and clothing, and different combinations are available as A, B, C, D. And at combination A, 1 unit of food is combined with 12 unit of clothing, and at point or the combination B, 2 units of food combined with the 6 units of clothing, and so on. So here we need to understand that in indifference schedule, all the combinations are indifferent because all these combinations are giving equal level of satisfaction to the consumer. We can draw an indifference curve using the schedule. You can see the schedule here. X-axis represent food and y-axis clothing, and we got the different point A, B, C, D, and joining this we got IC curve. So this diagram shows an indifference curve, that is IC, and any combination lying on this curve gives the same level of consumer satisfaction, that is A, B, C, D, and another name for it is iso-utility curve. Now let us also learn what is indifference map. An indifference map is a set of indifference curves. It depicts the complete picture of a consumer's preference, and here is the diagram for indifference map. So here you can see that this is the diagram showing an indifference map consisting of 3 curves, that is IC1, IC2 and IC3. That means indifference curve or indifference map always having more than one IC. Now let us begin very important content of this topic, that is properties of an indifference curve. So first property is an IC slopes downwards to the right. This slopes signifies that when the quantity of one commodity's combination is increased, the amount of the other commodity reduces. That means increasing in the consumption of one commodity is followed by decreasing in the another commodity, and this is essential for the level of satisfaction to remain the same on an indifference curve. The second property says an IC is always convex to the origin. Indifference curves are convex to the point of the origin, and this is because the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. We can say that for every additional unit of a good, a consumer is willing to give up lesser and lesser amount of another goods, and as a result marginal rate of substitution is declining, which gives the convex shape to the IC. Next property is indifference curves never intersect each other. So you can see in this diagram, two ICs are there, IC1 and IC2, and point A is common to both because these are intersecting each other. So two ICs will never intersect each other. Also they need to be parallel to each other, as we have seen in the previous graph in the indifference map that they should parallel, not intersect to each other. Next property is higher IC indicates higher level of satisfaction as compared to a lower IC. Higher indifference curves represent higher level of satisfaction to the consumer. In other words, any combination of goods which lie on higher indifference curve represent higher level of satisfaction, as consumer is able to buy more of goods on a higher IC. Another property is an IC does not touch the axis. This is not possible because of our assumption that a consumer considers different combination of two commodities and want both of them. There in the example we have taken that both the combination of food and clothing. So here we need to take both the combination. If the curve touches either of the axis, then it means that he is satisfied with only one commodity and does not want the other, which is contrary to our assumption. So you can see in the graph, first of all we can see that higher IC gives higher level of satisfaction. IC3 is the higher IC and higher IC gives higher level of satisfaction, and IC1 is the lower IC which gives lower level of satisfaction. And you can also see that they are not touching the axis, neither the x-axis nor the y-axis. So both the properties can easily understood with this diagram. Now one more associative concept is budget line. Now let us understand what is budget line. Budget line is a graphical representation which shows all the possible combination of the two goods that a consumer can buy with the given income and prices of commodities, and it is also called consumption possibility line. We can help understand with the help of example. Suppose a consumer has rupees 600 as his money income and decided to spend this entire income on the purchasing of two commodities, that is X1 and X2, where per unit price of X1 be rupees 5 and that of X2 rupees 4 per unit, and these prices remain unchanged during the period in which the consumers buys these commodities. So let us see that how we can derive budget line. If the consumer decides to spend his entire money income of rupees 600 on the purchasing of commodity X, he buys 120 of units of X1, and on purchasing of X2 150 of units of X2. So here you can see that we got the point R and P, and joining which we got the budget line. We can further understand the budget line with the help of the equation. So here is the equation, P1x1 plus P2x2 is equals to M, where P1 and P2 are the prices of two commodities, X1 and X2 are the quantities of two commodities, P1x1 is the expenditure on commodities X1, P2x2 is the expenditure on commodity X2. Budget line can also shift. A budget line is based on consumers' income and prices of the commodities. Therefore, if any of these determinants are changed, then budget line will definitely change. So let us see the shifting in the budget line. The first reason is change in the income. Suppose income of the consumer rises by 50% and price of both commodities are constant. Then the consumer's capacity to buy goods increases definitely, and he will buy more quantity of both the goods. So as a result, budget line shifts towards the right side when income rises and shift towards the left side when income falls. We can see another determinants, that is change in the price of the commodity. Change in the prices of commodity X. Suppose price of commodity X falls and price of the commodity Y and income of the consumer remain constant. As a result, consumer can buy now more quantity of good X. So the budget line rotates outward here, you can see, when price of X rises, and it rotates inward when price of X is rises, and it rotates outward when price of X is declining. We can also understand this with another case when there is a change in the price of commodity Y. Suppose price of commodity Y falls and price of commodity X and income of consumer remain unchanged. So what happens? As a result, consumer can buy more unit of commodity Y, and there will be the rightward rotation in the budget line when price of Y falls, and it rotates leftward when price of Y increases. So here in the graph you can see, here it is outward shift or rotate because here price of Y declines, and here it is inward rotate because here price of Y is increasing. So this way change in the price of commodity Y also cause the rotation in the price line. Now let us begin with the conditions of consumer's equilibrium, because here we are understanding budget line and the indifference curve in order to derive the consumer equilibrium. So here we can understand the conditions of consumer equilibrium. So the consumer equilibrium under the indifference curve theory must meet following two conditions. First, MRS, which is marginal rate of substitution, which is the slope of IC, must be equals to the slope of budget line, that is Px upon Py. And the second condition is MRS continuously falls, that means it should convex to the origin. So let us understand the second condition. As first condition, already we know that both the ratio should be equal, the slope of IC and the slope of budget line should be equal. And for second condition, we have already explained or understood that MRS must be declining at the point of equilibrium, and the difference curve must be convex to the origin at the point of equilibrium. So thus both the conditions need to be fulfilled for a consumer to be in equilibrium. Now let us understand this equilibrium with the help of diagram. You can see here we have IC1, IC2 and IC3, and we have the budget line BA. So where is the equilibrium? Equilibrium, as per our condition, IC2 is tangent to budget line AB, wherein the slope of IC is equals to slope of budget line, and also we can see that IC is convex. So at point both the conditions are satisfied. So let us elaborate the diagram. In figure 2.12, IC1, IC2 and IC3 are the three indifference curves, and AB is the budget line. With the constant of budget line, the highest indifference curve which a consumer can reach is IC2. The budget line is tangent to indifference curve IC2 at point E, we have just now seen. And this is the point of consumer equilibrium where the consumer purchases OM amount of commodity X and here ON amount of commodity Y. All other points on the budget line to the left or right of point E will lie on lower indifference curve and thus indicates a lower level of satisfaction. A budget line can be tangent to one and only one indifference curve, and consumer maximizes his satisfaction at point E only. Here where both the conditions of consumer equilibrium are satisfied. Now if the slope of IC is not equals to slope of budget line. That means if MRS is greater than the ratio of Px and Py, how the equilibrium can be restored. So let us understand. In this case, it means that the consumer is willing to pay more for X than the price prevailing in the market. As a result, the consumer buys more of X. And as the consumer will buy more of X, MRS falls till it becomes equal to the ratio of the prices and the equilibrium is established. Now, same way we can understand the opposite case, that is MRS is less than the ratio of Px and Py. It means that the consumer is willing to pay less for X than the price prevailing in the market. So it induces the consumer to buy less of X and more of Y. So what will be the effect on MRS? MRS rises till it becomes equal to the ratio of prices and the equilibrium is again established. So this is how that the consumer can restore the equilibrium in these two different cases. So here our topic is over. Thank you.